Good morning, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys having a good start to the week so far. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. Good morning, Tom. All right, guys, I'm going to adjust my gimbal. So if you guys can hang out for just a minute here, I'm going to fix it. And then we're going to have a real conversation. Conversation that evidently we need to have based on the comments I've seen. And needs to happen, I guess. So good morning, guys. Let me just fix my gimbal and I'll be right back with you. All right, guys, so Sandy's gonna join me here in a minute. So here's what we're doing. We're gonna have some real talk about red tide, because this morning I saw video from Delnor-Wiggins Pass, and it is ugly up there, guys. Delnor-Wiggins, this morning there's dead fish all over the beach. The water is completely brown. So let's just get it out of the way. North Naples, Delnor-Wiggins is ugly right now. It's disgusting. And I wouldn't go. I wouldn't recommend being there. But here's the thing with some of the people that are commenting on our page, and Sandy's pulling up. You guys, some of you guys, not all you guys, are really beating us up. Thinking we're not giving you guys the truth because we're somehow paid or whatever by people to say certain things. I really don't know why you guys think that we wouldn't be truthful. But the thing is this. I've said to you guys, Sandy has said to you guys, and we've said it. Good morning, Sandy. We've said it over and over that the conditions at Delnor and the conditions here are like night and day. And I know that's hard to believe because it's so close. I know that's hard to believe. And so Jennifer's right. There's too much information and a lot of it's misinformation. And so, but I think part of the problem, good morning, Sandy.
Hi, guys.
There's Sandy.
Hi, everybody.
I think part of the problem is, and I understand, first of all, I understand why everybody's upset. But I think part of the problem is people have a hard time believing that what they see at Delnor. Did you see the Delnor-Wiggins this morning? Delnor-Wiggins this morning, the beach is black, okay? The water is like black. And there are fish literally lined on the beach. Like there's not even a break in it. Like they're completely lining the beach. So I think what happens is people have a hard time believing that when something is happening at Delnor-Wiggins, which is North Naples, that it wouldn't be the same way here, or at least similar. I don't know why, but it's not. I mean, I'm looking. It's just not.
We're lucky.
And I don't know the phenomenon that...
The phenomenon is, Brennan, that I've willed it not to come this
Sandy
way.
has willed that it not be come down here.
Because I'm the sun and water worshiper.
Oh my. Yes, she is.
Keep
well,
away.
that's true.
Keep
that is
away.
very true.
Keep away.
So here's the thing I want to do to you guys. I want to walk down to the beach because I know once the sun hits the phone, we're going to lose it anyway. It's going to overheat. But I think that if you saw the Delnor-Wiggins video this morning, you need to just see the beach for yourself.
Did you do it?
No, it was Southwest Florida Television.
Okay.
So basically keep in mind the water at Delnor-Wiggins it's darker than that brown. It's darker than the brown on those leaves.
Yeah.
That's the color of the water at Delnor-Wiggins.
So it looks like a lake or
It looks like a dark brown lake. It's the color of that sign.
Oh.
And there are fish everywhere, dead fish everywhere. So for anybody, because basically what happened was, obviously we keep getting the questions about us not saying it as it is. But the thing is, you know, I mean, I yeah, there's a guy exercising. I don't know what else we can do other than show you guys. I'm not saying there's no red tide in the water, and we've never said that, have we, Sandy? I mean, we've never said.
No, it might have come out wrong that way.
Maybe it came out wrong. Maybe I did say it, but
I think you just said there's no red tide, but what you meant was we can't sense it.
anytime we talk about no red tide, we're talking about the noticeable conditions. So here's the deal. The water here, it's a little cloudy.
Yeah, it was cloudy.
It was cloudy yesterday. It's a little cloudy. Would I go swimming in it? No. And I don't think we've once said we would go swimming in it.
No.
And but there's no. It's not dark.
Walked in it. Though. I've walked in it with my feet, and, kept thinking other ways. I didn't have to touch anything on my feet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going in the water. I'm not going swimming. I'm not gonna take fish out of the water and eat them. But at the same token, truth is truth. And if you guys want truth, here's what I'm going to urge you to do. Go check out the Southwest Florida television live from this morning and then come back and look at this live. And there's your truth. I don't even need to say anything. And I don't see dead fish. I'm sure there's some up and down the beach somewhere, but I don't like what was happening this morning. So basically, if you were at Del Nor Wiggins, as far as the eye could see, you would see a row of fish. Basically, these tire marks would be fish. And that's the thing. If you guys don't want to be here, I get it. But all I'm saying is, fair is fair, and this part of town deserves to be treated fairly. And it's not bad. I would come out here and spend the day on the beach here. I just wouldn't go in the water. And that's just my personal opinion. You guys can see there are people swimming.
I'd go boating that way. I'd
Yeah.
go boating today. I'd even go that way.
Yeah,
because
when we go boating, we go
now,
south.
Now that Brandon said he saw that way, and we don't know if did it smell, did he say?
He said it smelled. He said it reeked from the fish, I think.
And it doesn't smell here.
Doesn't
at
smell.
all.
There's no smell. There's no
Not
noticeable red tide.
coughing.
We're not coughing. There's people in the water. And I really do think that the hard part here, and I'm going to get back in the shade just so the phone doesn't melt down. I think, here, let me put it back on. I really do think that the hard part with people understanding this is that they think that it's not possible that the conditions that are up at Del Nor Wiggins, which is really close to here, could possibly have us having such nice conditions here. And I get it, because I have no clue how that happens, why it's happening. I don't understand, but
Gotta stop somewhere.
it's got to stop somewhere. And I think the winds have a lot to do with it. The winds are pushing it back that way. So it is what it is. So here's the deal. We're gonna go up here so I can get the phone in the shade. And you guys ask questions. Just ask whatever you want, and we'll just spend some time sitting here answering it. I'm gonna go back through some of the comments here.
Okay.
Maybe you can help me, Sandy.
Yeah, I got it. I'll do that.
So let's go back. I'll start from the bottom, you start from the top, and anything that needs to be addressed, we'll address it. Bridget was in Sarasota, and it was horrible. Mm-hmm. Well, Sandy was in Venice this weekend and said it was horrible. So yeah, we get it.
It didn't smell good. We couldn't stay there that
It's
long.
horrible not just in Sarasota and Venice, it's horrible in North Naples.
I gotta turn my lights off.
What point in going to the ocean if you can't go in? Well, that's up to you guys. That's totally up to you guys. You know, a lot of us don't go in the water. I don't go in the water unless I'm fishing. I don't go in the water. Wendy is coming in 12 days. Good for you, Wendy. So Shelly is confirming what we're saying, that she was at Del Nor Wiggins Pass and it's awful, but that the pier is totally different. Before anyone speaks, they need to take the time to investigate for yourself. Totally on point. Good morning, Fred. We're just scrolling through your comments, guys. Hi, Sue. Good morning. Joe's coming down on September 1st.
Well, Daryl had a point. Daryl was saying, you know, what's the point of going to the ocean or the Gulf?
But I was
if you
saying
can't
that's
go
to
in
the
water?
person, you know?
But that's per person.
Because, like
if
me-
you are a swimmer.
Yeah, I mean, if
I
you're...
can see if you came here to vacation and you came here to swim in the water here.
Yep.
Yeah, your vacation might be ruined. If
But here's the
that's what you
thing.
wanna do.
Sandy and I don't have media credentials. Like, I'm not going to whip out my media credentials when I turn this live off and be like, haha, I got them. Like, we don't have media credentials. We are not media. We report it as we see it. And here's the thing. Some of this, guys, it's on video. It's live. Like, you can see the people in the water. So some of this is just observing. And that's what we do. And you guys can actually observe with us because you're looking at the same things we are. And by the way, there's some really cool lightning out there.
Well, see, this is what I would do. If I was up north, I love the sun and the water so much, and I get it, you guys. I love going in the water too. But if I wouldn't still ruin my vacation over it. I'd still come here to Southwest Florida and South Naples, get a hotel that had a pool that overlooks that.
Yep.
And there are hotels that
Yep.
here just like that, so you can
Yep.
actually still swim.
I mean,
I know it's not the same, but you can still see this, and you're not getting
the
sick if
thing
you're
I
not
try
swimming
to
here.
convey is that the beach is nice.
The beach is real nice.
The beach is nice.
My son and sister were visiting here from Michigan and sat at the beach. My sister Rose, who's our fan, she's probably watching. Hi, Rosie. She's home now. Her flight was delayed, but anyway, she got home really late this morning, and she laid on the beach. She walked the beach. We walked to Loudermilk. She loved it. She didn't have any problems with it. She wanted to go in the water. She went up to her ankles. She asked me if I thought it was safe. I said it's up to her own discretion. I said it to her too.
So Bridget says, people need to understand it creates breathing problems and irritation for us northerners. It's like having asthma during allergy season. Well, what you got to understand yourself is that that's not just northerners.
I have upper respiratory
Guys,
issues.
Sandy and I both, if you want to know if there's red tide, there's no better barometer than just listening to us. Because we're out here, both of us are out here hacking when red tide is present. And when we say present, again, we're referring to it being in the air because it's not in the air. It may be in the water, but it's not in the air. And if you guys want to know where red tide is, just go on the FWC site and check out the updated results. They have a map where they have the results. And believe it or not, their map does show, which is not us saying it, it's not even media saying it, it's just a fact based on the testing.
I think it's like the county or something.
But there are areas along Collier County beaches that don't even show red tide. There's some that show heavy up north, there's some that show light, and there's some that don't show any at all.
It showed light over here, I think, just this past week. So, and it's obvious because of what our conditions right now.
And for anybody who thinks that, because there's a lot of new people, so I can't blame people for thinking that maybe we're not calling it as we see it.
She looks like Bruce Willis, younger version.
Sandy's checking out the guys.
All right, check it out.
So I understand that some people who are new see us defending Naples, downtown Naples, and might not understand how genuine we are with our reporting, our observing. But if you guys go back, if you've been here for a while, you'll understand that we call it as we see it. When we're out here hacking with red tide, we say we're hacking with red tide. And to even further that point, a few weeks ago, her and I went and had lunch together off of 41. And we came out after the restaurant and we're like coughing. And we noticed red tide all the way up on 41, not just on the beach. So we do call it as we see it. Back this winter, late winter, for 2 months there was red tide out here. Every single day we called it. So when we don't sense it, we're being genuine about it.
So Michelle was saying she understands that the beaches, they're picking up the dead fish. So we're not saying they don't have...
No. I get it. I get what she's saying. But the dead fish, when they're here, they're here. They are out here. I've been here when they're out here. Yesterday morning, I was out here early. There was one dead fish on the beach that I could see either
Yeah,
direction.
And then, like I said, my sister and I walked out to Laudermilk, and you know, sometimes that seaweed, you can see it.
There is
like,
seaweed on the beach.
There's some seaweed out there, and you would think that if they swept the beach here, that would have been gone.
Yeah,
And
they're not
that's-
sweeping the beach. The one
No.
thing about the beach is it leaves every mark in the sand. I can tell you if
would
there's
be
been a
able to tell.
vehicle go up and down the beach this morning. There was a four-wheeler that went up and down the beach because you can see it. You can see the
Right.
marks. They did not clean the fish
They
off
didn't
this
comb
beach.
it.
And if you need another indicator, the water here is completely different than it looks 5 miles from here.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how far Del Nor Wiggins is from here, but it's not far.
Is it close to? It's on that borderline of Bonita, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're
It's North Naples. I mean, it's Vanderbilt Beachish area, I think.
I think it's north of that.
North of that, yeah.
So then there's Vanderbilt, there's Immokalee, and then it goes to it's kind of like that new BMW dealership
Yeah.
over there. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think.
So,
that's
I mean,
like old
but
41,
if
they
you were
call
to go
it.
as the crow flies, that's like 5 miles maybe.
Um,
It's less than 10.
less than 10. I'd say more than 5.
All right, so, I mean, that's not far.
No.
And so the beach conditions here are completely different, and the proof is in the water. So, you know, if you do think that we're being deceived by them picking up the fish off the beach, which I don't think they are. I mean, I do think they will, but I don't think they have.
Mary's saying her opinion is that the runoff from Lake Okeechobee is putting the Miracle Grow on the red tide, and what are they doing about it?
All
Will
right,
they
so
stop the
so
runoff?
here's the thing I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to get into the discussion or debate about exactly what's causing the red tide, because facts show that red tide is caused both naturally and by pollution. We don't know, and it would be a guess of me to say, and it would be a guess of you to say how much of this is attributed to each thing. Total guess. So what I would focus on instead is, what are they doing? Well, here's the thing. People say the governor. Well, the governor declared the state of emergency. The governor doesn't manage the Lake Okeechobee releases. That's the Army Corps of Engineers. The governor, people want the governor to step in. So he did. He stepped in and declared a state of emergency, giving as much funding as needed to be given to do whatever they can do. The thing is, they don't have federal type of funds. So it's not like you're going to see an army move in with state funds. So they're trying to get federal funding. This needs to be a DC issue. What they need to do is figure out how to manage the water in Lake Okeechobee. That's what they're going to have to figure out. I definitely believe that pollution is a part of it, but guys, if you've been around some of the homes that are on the water, good luck. Good luck with stopping the pollution. I don't know the solution, but all I'm saying is this frustration needs to be directed correctly. Definitely doesn't need to be at us. I don't know why it would be.
Hey, I like Janice's outlook. Any day at the beach is better than nothing.
That's true.
That's
As
good,
long as you're not
Janice. I love
hacking.
the
As long
beach.
as you're not hacking and coughing, which we're not. It's actually beautiful out here today because it's not too sunny. There's a lot of these high clouds, and then there's this storm. Looks like it's building off the coastline. So I'm hoping that people are seeing this. I hope that people who are upset thinking we're not giving it as it is see this, because we did go down to the water. As soon as I saw the live this morning from Del Nor, I'm like, you know what? We're going to go down and we're going to see what the Naples beach looks like this morning within 2 hours of his live. And it's not the same beach. It's like a totally different beach condition. Can you repeat the website information for the conditions update? Here's the thing, guys. I don't know it right offhand, but I'll find it. I know it's at FWC, their website, but I'm guessing that's a gov site. But I'll find it and I'll post that.
And Charlene was saying, you know, Sarasota, Manatee County are horrible. Dead fish smells horrible. Fort Myers saying about you don't believe it, go see it for yourself.
We do believe it.
So I don't know if she's telling us, but we
Yeah,
believe it.
we believe it.
I've
And
been there.
Yeah, Sandy's been there. She did a live from
I
there.
travel a lot along the coast.
So here's the
guys.
thing.
I have family along the coast.
Follow Southwest Florida Photo Blog. That's a sister page to this page. It's not as big as this page, but we're working on it. And anytime Sandy goes outside of Naples and goes up towards Venice or wherever, she typically does reports from up there. So she did a live this past weekend from, what beach was that?
That was Minnesota Key, which is
Minnesota Key,
Inglewood.
which is Inglewood, which Inglewood was on the news this weekend for how bad it was. So we're telling it truthfully like it is, and
And I took my shoes off, my sandals
she
off
walked
at
the
the
beach.
beach. And then after I did it, I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But I did. It's almost like you don't want to have sand in your, in your shoes or your sandals. But I did. I walked it, but I was really careful. I'm like, because there was dead fish in a lot of areas. There was a lot of that gross seaweed. It smelled. There was definitely red tide in the air. It was in my lungs. I could feel it. And it wasn't horribly strong, but it was there.
Yep.
Definitely a little more than mild. And I didn't want to stay long. I mean, and there were a lot of people there, lots of people there. And, I told my sister and my family, let's just go inward a little bit. And it is disappointing, but like Brandon said here, you don't sense that or see that devastation at all.
No.
And hopefully it won't come this way, but it could.
It could
still come this
It could
way.
come this way. But the winds right now would not help it coming here. The winds right now have been pushing it back up.
Right.
Or at
If
least
we get a
stopping
wind-
it.
If we get a wind change, it definitely
Yeah, if
will.
the wind turned
We're just lucky.
south and came out of the north, we would be in bad shape. Coco said that Del Norwegians is 8 miles from where we're standing.
Okay.
So
See,
that's
more-
not
more
far.
than 5, less than 10. you're
Yeah,
right.
more than 5, less than 10. I said 5. She was right. It's north of Vanderbilt Beach.
Yes, because
So-
I ride my bike, so I know it's a bit of a hike on a bike.
Karen's asking, can we smell it? I do not smell
No,
anything.
there's no smell. It doesn't smell nasty. It doesn't smell like icky seaweed or dead fish or nothing, at least right here.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So Del Nor is not far from here, so you can see how quick the conditions can change. So if you were to say, because I can now, somebody may come out and say, well, 3 miles south of the pier, it's nasty. I haven't heard that, by the way, but that's how quick these things could change, I'm guessing. So we call it as we see it right where we are. And yesterday I was at the pier and it was nice. Today we're on 8th Avenue South and it's nice. And that's it. That's your report. I mean, it's nice. Would I go in the water? No. But is the water ugly? No, it's not. Yesterday
It's a little cloudy though.
Yesterday people were saying how horrible the water looked, but it was rainy and sometimes it really clouds up the water. And it's cloudy right now. Mary, we are at Naples Beach, just north of the Naples Pier. We're able to look right there at the Naples Pier. And the one thing I would say is, for everybody who was, supportive, and we are supportive of the hands on the beach thing, if you really want to help the cause also, don't just leave your cause at the beach. Put your cause in going and dining at a mom and pop restaurant in Naples versus a big chain restaurant for a while. Help these guys out. Think of things you can do when you're looking to do something. Think of things you can do that would help a private owned business versus a chain business that would a lot of times come in and out of Naples without even thinking about, the economy. So just, that's another way. If you want to really be supportive of the beach, also be supportive of the community. Would you say the hype is true that the Lake O is the cause of all of it? Well, I said early on that, and I'll turn it on me so people can get mad at me as I'm talking.
Not me. I'm just
No, don't
the
get mad at
girl
her.
with the bike helmet.
I said all along, when Naples did have a sense of red tide early on, weeks ago, when we sensed it out here, I said that I think it would be crazy to assume that the Lake Okeechobee release was not the cause. So, but I do know that red tides cause naturally. So all I'm doing is giving my opinion. And there's a lot of opinions out there.
And then the stuff that we're reading, which we hope we're reading the right information, is saying that release is with the algae, it has proteins, and that the red tide feeds on the proteins, and it just exasperates.
Exasperates.
Exasperates, thank you. the problem. So it's actually helping the algae grow bigger because of the fertilizer, which the red tide feeds off proteins, and that's what that is. And so we got different problems coming together and feeding off each other. And that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's a fact, but it makes sense to me.
Makes sense.
That's what's going on, but I don't know that.
I mean, the thing is, like, you know, I think, and somebody said observing is the key. And that's the thing is, I think observing is so important because you never know whether the opinion being given has a political undertone, because so much of this goes back to politicians. And so a lot of people make it purely about politics. And I think that the way I feel about it is I think politics has a role, but I think people think that a mayor or a governor has the ability to purely fix this. Part of the issue here, the real solution to this, is finding a way to release water from Lake Okeechobee where it should be going, which is south. And that's so far behind where it should probably be right now that the solution is not, this is not going to stop anytime soon. It's just not. This is not a problem that I think personally can be solved anytime soon.
Right.
And I think part of this is caused in large part, actually, by Hurricane Irma. I think that Lake Okeechobee is probably heavily polluted, probably just like every lake in America, because of fertilizer runoff and things like that. So what you have is you have Irma come in and fills the lake up to the brim, and the levee on the south side can't handle too much. So they have to release it. And I think they've always been doing releases, but this is a really heavy release because of all of the water that's in Lake Okeechobee. So I think if we have another hurricane come up through the state this year, this is going to happen a lot. I think what we need is we need a break from these big, big storms. Is removing pollution the answer? Of course it's the answer, but to have an answer, you got to have a solution. And your solution has to be realistic, and not all solutions are realistic. I think it's great to say we need to get pollution out of the water, but how are you going to do it? And that's the key, is if your how is not realistic, it's not an answer, it's not a solution. So the solution has to be common sense, it has to be realistic. And I think part of that is they have to find a way to move the water south. That's my 2 cents on that. Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's like what happens is people get caught up in the emotional side of it. And
Heather from Ohio.
Hello, Heather from Ohio. And the emotional side of it drives desires for solutions that might not be realistic. And even if they are, they might be so far away, you know? And I think, because Sandy, do you remember, I don't know if you recall, but like I remember the days not that long ago where they were saying how low Lake Okeechobee was. Mm-hmm. And how it was like so low that like the idea of even going out fishing on Lake Okeechobee was being thrown out the window because you couldn't even get the boats off the docks because there was no water at the docks.
Right.
So, you know, you're looking at and people go, well, red tide wasn't happening this bad for a while. Well, that's because there weren't releases from Lake Okeechobee. There was no need to release water from Lake Okeechobee. Mm-hmm. And now you've had some really rainy seasons, and then you add on top of it a hurricane that didn't just come over Florida like most of them do and cross. It went straight up the entire state. And so much of that water from north of Lake Okeechobee, from Orlando and all that, it flows down into the lake. And then the water is not allowed to go south because they have the levee. So what do you do with it? And see, to me, that's where you have to start. And you have to say, solutions are great, ideas are great, but your solution has to have some level of reason to it. So Sal says, I agree about moving the water south. I heard that for years. And how and who can influence that change? So Larry, how you doing, man? Good to see you. How is it out there? You know, no problem? All right, good. Good deal. So regarding you, Sal, because I know that you were kind of Sal wasn't happy with Sal. Sal didn't seem too happy with me yesterday. And because I think Sal was upset that we might not have been calling it correctly.
It's okay, Sal.
It's all right, Sal.
I got mad at him too sometimes.
Listen, she gets on my case all the time, so I'm not bothered by that. All I want to do is correct the record if there is a correction that needs to be made. Regarding the water moving south, I think we all think that's a reasonable solution. I don't think that's a state thing. I just don't, because the levee is managed by the Army Corps of Engineers. So if you guys want a solution to that, personally, and what I've heard from a couple different people who are business owners, is that is a Washington, D.C. issue. I know because it's in a state, people assume it's a state issue. But my understanding is that's going to be a Washington, D.C. issue. And I'm not saying that because I support Governor Scott or I don't support Governor Scott. I'm saying that when Governor Scott's gone and the next governor comes in, regardless of what party he's affiliated with, I don't think he's going to have the ability to spend probably hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, repurposing a levee or rebuilding a levee, which I have no idea how they would even do that. So that's going to be a serious issue, and it's going to be Army Corps of Engineers.
Engineer smart.
Yeah, you definitely got to be smart, because, and you imagine this responsibility of that?
Oh yeah, I can answer Jenny's question about Allegiant Airline.
Okay.
Because I've lived in Punta Gorda for 12 years before I moved to Inglewood and Venice, Sarasota. I've lived in all the Southwest Florida areas. Allegiant is still purchasing the area in Charlotte Harbor, and they are building those high rises on the water, on the harbor. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that they definitely probably will be getting involved in this because, yeah, who wants to move exactly? Who wants to move somewhere where it's nasty?
And Sue says, and so I'm going to make a comment on what Sue just said. Sue says, if we're waiting on Washington, we're in trouble. And so that's the thing. Like, so this is my point about people getting emotional and knee-jerking. So here's what you get. You get Democrats upset when a Republican's in office that the problem isn't being solved. And then it doesn't get solved. It really doesn't get solved. And then a Democrat comes into office and Republicans will get upset and say that the Democrats don't solve the problems. And then the problem isn't solved. And then a Republican comes back into office. And so you get this cycle. And so if you really want to look at the responsibility, who's responsible for this? It's us. Because we keep blaming the other side, and yet no side fixes the problem. And at some point, you got to stop infighting and bickering with each other on politics and say, we just want solutions to the problem, and let that be bigger than the party or the politician. It's not going to get solved until people say, all of us say, we're done. You can go hold hands on the beach all day long, but one side's going to see that as a political stunt, and they're going to go, we don't want involvement. And then the next time there's going to be another hands on the beach with the other side, and then those people are not going to be. And so there is no true unity until everybody says, beyond politics, we want the problem solved. So that I think is the answer.
Bertie was asking about,
hi, Bertie.
About the picture that I took and what I saw with the crane yesterday, and if I found out.
Oh yeah, did you find anything? That was odd.
You know what? The only thing I did post 2 articles that were in the paper, and I'm sorry, I tried to forward it the link, but it wouldn't let me for some reason. So I took a picture of 2 different news articles on the web, and that long tube they were pumping out sand onto the beach at Doctor's Pass.
They were pumping sand from out to the in?
Out to in,
okay.
Right. So, and that was earlier last week, or almost 2 weeks ago now. I saw them doing it a while ago. They do that all the time.
Yeah, it's beach renourishment.
Yes. So anyway, what happened was that big tube that they pumped the sand had floated, or somehow
it broke free.
It broke free, and it ended up down this way by Loudermilk Park.
Okay.
And by the beach. So one of the high-rise managers noticed, and he called the city and said, "Hey, what's this big thing doing in front of our beach?"
Yep.
So why the crane was there, though, I probably there was sand that was still.
It looked like a bunch of sand had moved out and
Yes.
created like an island
It
almost
did.
going out, a
It
peninsula.
created like an island. So I think it was a mistake that happened with the wind or the rain because they stopped working. So
Well,
there
that's
was
funny
lightning,
because
and they had to stop.
at
working.
Loudermilk, it was earlier in the year, and it's actually on our YouTube page. There was a barge that broke free
Yes, yeah.
during some heavy winds
Some
and
heavy
actually
winds.
landed on Loudermilk Beach.
Yeah, so everything seems to land.
Everything
right there.
lands at
Must be
Loudermilk
shallower
Beach.
there.
Yeah, it must be shallow actually. And you know what? And that wouldn't surprise me because the water, when it's clear, when the water's nice, the water at Loudermilk is clearer than anywhere else. It is like crystal clear. You can go snorkeling at Loudermilk. I mean, it's that clear.
Right. So, and as far as what he was doing, to me it looked a little odd because it looked like he was just dispersing it around. He was grabbing it from the front and then just pushing it. So I think he was just really pushing sand away where it wasn't supposed to go. And I know a lot of people were angry saying, oh, that's what we're paying for, some guy to just to throw some sand around. And I really wanted to, because the guy actually, before my sister and I left, I wanted to go back out and actually interview the guy, but I thought, you know what, that's wrong to do because he might say something and I don't want to get the guy in trouble because he's probably only doing his job. Someone told him to take his thing and dump the sand and, you know, and I was like, I want to go out there and ask him exactly what he's doing and why he's just dumping the sand behind him. But yeah, if the guy accidentally was just like, yeah, I don't know, you know, and then he would look like an idiot and then he'd get fired.
So we had two questions in a row about, is this affecting the economy? And the answer is yes. And it's really it's hammering the local economy. And that's why we are talking about what we're experiencing here so much. And that's why I think some people are getting upset is they think that we're supporting the local businesses at the expense of the truth. And it's just not true. The reason we're so defensive of the local businesses is because we don't feel it's a fair shake. And we don't see a lot of people reporting the truth about what's going on down here. And so we don't feel that's fair. I mean, if I owned a small business that needed you guys to stay alive, I would be really upset, as they are, that the beaches right here are as nice as they are, and people are thinking that they look like brown, nasty beaches, because it's just not true. So, yeah, it's affecting the economy. And again, I would just say, support local businesses. If you're down here, support local businesses. Buy something from a local business.
Can I go off key for a second?
Oh, Sandy wants to go off
To
key.
make an announcement.
Sandy wants to announce something. I have no idea what she's getting ready to say, so I'm a little nervous.
So I just got a big text, you guys, from my niece Melissa, and she's pregnant.
Ah,
Yay!
so-
If you're still watching, Melissa,
So
congratulations.
Melissa's pregnant.
To her and
Is it her
Anthony.
first?
First baby. She
Oh,
just
wow.
got married. So my niece lives in Michigan, but she had moved to Naples for a short time where she met her husband now. And I just went to her wedding last year, and now she's pregnant. So
Very
she just
cool.
announced it through text, so I just got it. Sorry, guys. I just want to wish Melissa a congratulations.
Congratulations,
to her
Melissa and Anthony.
and,
Congratulations.
for their first baby. Yay, I'm going to be a great auntie.
That's cool. Tom's asking how far out the red tide goes. I have no idea, Tom. That's a question I don't know the
because
answer to.
I think even the fishermen said that it can go out. It
Yeah.
can go out, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, and it comes in waves, right?
Yep.
They were like
Yep.
one patch of it does, and then they don't smell it again, and then there it is again. So it's really odd. But as far as airborne, that same article that I read was saying they haven't noticed anything more than a mile inland. But it, like Brandon and I had been on 41, which is almost a mile inland from here, and we did notice it. So, and that's just about a mile away,
Yep.
maybe just a tad under a mile away from 41 to here.
The wind is everything. And even the local news is finally saying that.
Yeah.
They're finally saying it. The wind is everything with red tide. So if you really want to know, get your local beach conditions and then check the winds, and you can kind of get an idea of where it's moving. So based on the winds today, I don't think that the red tide at Del Nor has any chance of coming down here because the wind is moving it. It would be coming against it. So one thing I love is that storm is building.
Yeah.
I heard some thunder, and now I think I can see the rain out there. It's beautiful. It really is nice out. Now, the one thing I do know is, aside from being down at the pier, there's a lot of people down near the pier. There's just not a lot of people out here, and we're getting a lot of questions even on our private messages about people asking about whether or not they should come. I don't know if you're seeing those before I get a chance to respond to them, but a lot of people asking if they should come down. And all I can say is just keep an eye on what we're talking about, but all we can talk about is the area we're standing. I can't even give you a condition for the pier, which is right there, because I'm not at the pier. We're right here. So we're on 8th Avenue South today, and it's beautiful. And Sandy just coughed, and so everybody's going to claim that you're succumbing to red tide. Red tide, you liar.
Now, I actually biked before Brandon told me, because I wasn't sure if Brandon was doing the live.
Hi, Anna.
So I just said to Brandon, hey, I'm going to be riding my bike. I'd be happy to stop and do my live. And he's like, no, I think I am, but come join me. So anyway, I ended up riding probably, down Gordon, down by the Best Buy house. If you guys remember, we were going to ride. We'll have to do, Brandon and I were saying we have to go do another drive-by.
Yeah, we need to do another drive.
Show you guys, Gordon Drive and all these cool houses, these mansions here. But anyway, so I was all the way down past the Best Buy house, and I sensed no red tide. None at all on my bike, because I'd be coughing as I'm biking. I wouldn't be able to take it one block away.
Coco says red tide, even serious red tide, has been recorded since the 1500s, and that is a fact.
Yes.
And that's a fact. And so people, again, this is just a lack of knowledge and information, which, by the way, I'm not blaming anybody for, because I'm owning that myself. I have learned more about red tide in the past year. I mean, we've seen red tide around here for years, but I've learned more about red tide in the past year than I have in the last 15 years of being here. So one thing I did learn is red tide is natural. It has been around for as long as we know. Even bad red tide, bad red tide doesn't happen all the time. But that's not to say that pollution doesn't play a role. But it does at least help to know the truth, so that you can at least temper your emotion. Because we don't know how much is related to what, but what we probably all could say is that the Lake Okeechobee releases don't help, and so the solution is to figure out how to not release water from Lake Okeechobee into the Gulf down on this side. I don't know that the answer is truly saying that we got to stop polluting the water, because I don't know its reality. I would love for there to be no pollution in the water, but I just don't know if it's realistic. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. I just don't know that that's the solution.
And Birdie was just saying that, which also makes sense. It's really light right now here in Southwest Florida, because August and September are the lightest times. There's hardly any traffic. The greatest time for locals. We love it that most people are not here, but typically they're not here whether it's nice or not. It's just so hot here.
Yep.
Normally in August and September that people don't come here, but a lot of Europeans, as we talked before, do vacation at this time because it's their vacation in Europe to come here. And the money exchange, I think, is even better than the vacation here. But it's always very light here at this time.
Yeah, this is a light time of year. I mean, it's not uncommon for it to be dead this time of year. In fact, a lot of the locals, come April, when tourist season ends, a lot of the locals get excited that the beaches clear out, because that's when a lot of locals come out. But obviously it's very hot, and that's why during this time of the year it's not busy, because it is brutally hot. But in another few months, and this is a concern I expressed with Sandy yesterday. In a few months, season starts up. In a few months, things start cooling down, and the tourists will start coming in. And they're saying that the issue with this red tide up in the Sarasota area, it's not going to go away anytime soon. And so my fear is what's going to happen with those businesses and that economy up there. I just hope really that Naples stays, out of the biggest mix of this. Do you think it will be like this in October? Low red tide? I have no idea, guys. At this point, I think it'd be insane to assume it. But what I can just say is right now, it doesn't seem bad. And by the way, if you want to really get an idea of red tide in the water, which Sandy and I can't tell you how much red tide is right there in the water. The one thing I could say is that, like, when you see a jet skier moving fast across the water like that, and you know that he's getting spray on it, that's an indicator that it's not horrible where he is. We know that when the red tide came in, we stopped seeing dolphins and we stopped seeing manatees and we stopped seeing
Just wildlife.
a lot of wildlife. I mean, the birds were gone.
Kind of went away. Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen dolphins already. Sandy and I both saw dolphins last Thursday.
Yesterday there was pelicans in the water.
Pelicans were in the water.
By Loudermilk.
And yesterday I saw a video, we didn't get it, but I saw a video of 4 manatee going right under the pier, swimming under the pier. Those are things we didn't see. Those are things we weren't seeing. Because if you guys remember, prior to all of this being really bad, we were coming out here and there were manatee going up and down the beach. There were dolphins.
Very active.
Very, very active. You know, finally a lot of this wildlife is coming back. So
we went on a boat ride. So Brandon
that's an
and I
indicator.
and my sister,
Yes, we went on a boat ride.
And we saw the dolphins jumping in the wake.
Mike's asking, have we not done the water analysis? The only analysis we could do is find some guy who's thirsty and maybe make him drink it and watch what happens. Check out the rain out there, guys. That storm's actually building and it's coming our way.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Maybe we have to wait this out and see if we can get some good storm footage here.
Brandon will have to drive me back.
Yeah, I have to drive her back.
Okay, Mike, we'll have Brandon taste the water and see what he thinks. That'll be his analysis.
Let's see. I have a comment to make on something I just read. So here's the thing regarding the moat. So some you guys might see the comment about moat. Moat is the moat scientists. The state is giving the moat scientists $100,000. So the moat scientists are the ones who have developed the quote-unquote cure to red tide, which actually is being tested in Southwest Florida in the water today, starting today. And people were concerned about the safety of that and saying, oh, you know, this red tide killer, nobody really knows what it is per se, but they were like, is it going to kill all the wildlife when they're trying to kill the red tide? So here's one thing I read that might answer that though. This whole procedure from moat scientists that quote unquote kills red tide has been used for years by the Sarasota Aquarium because they get seawater that comes in. And so they've been using this to filter it out. So basically what I think is happening is they're stepping up and saying, we can help. And so they're trying to get funding so that they can make this on a scale that they can help beyond just their facility. And so that's where I think that is. So if that's true, I can't imagine that would be super harmful because most aquariums are very conscientious of the environment.
I've had fish tanks.
And yeah, and I think it has something to do with filtration more than like dumping chemicals in the water. I think it's run through some kind of process. I think they pump it through, and obviously
I think
it would take so much.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that it would be a solution for the water out on the beaches, but I think it might help in some of those bays
We don't know.
where there's green slime and things like that. So we just don't know. But you know what? Help. Anybody trying to help is good news. Oh, we're not discouraged, guys. No. I'm not discouraged at all. And I know that most of you guys appreciate what we do. It's just that when I respond to these things, it's not out of defensiveness. It's out of truly defending the beach, defending the businesses. And we're not going to do it and lie. We're not going to lie to tell people to come down here when they shouldn't, or to tell people to go out on a boat when they shouldn't. Heck, Sandy, to prove that point, we told everybody we were going out on a boat. We had a scheduled day that you and I were going to Key Waden Island.
That's right.
And we canceled it, and we told everybody. We came out here that day that we were supposed to be on the boat, we came out.
And we really wanted to go.
And we really wanted to go. And we were going to do lives the whole way down to Key Waden.
For a boat ride.
Yep.
And it was so bad that there was no way. I mean, once you go on a boat, you're stuck.
Yep. So we came out that day, right here at this spot, and said, sorry guys, we're not going out on the boat. We canceled it because there's red tide in the air. And that day we were coughing and hacking but the conditions here are just not the same. Like, it's so much better. We went out on a boat Thursday. And I would go out on a boat right now. Maybe not, maybe not right now because of that, but I would go out. That's beautiful though.
Take 20 years to drag them up to it.
So yeah, no, it could take 20 years if they did it off of the beach. I would agree with that. And I don't know that their intention is truly to go up and down the beaches because I mean, let's be honest, it's like it's a massive body of water. You're not going to just scoop it out like that. But I think what the idea is if they can clear out these canals and if they can clear out some of these Fort Myers waterways, then it would help. They're actually making they're making some ground on the algae. I've seen pictures where they are working on the algae, and it's slow, but they are making ground on the algae, so that's good news. Thank you, Tom. You rock too, Tom. Man, check that out. Let's see. Would love to take the boat to Key Waden. Any current reports there? Yes, Tina. We heard from a captain that Key Waden is beautiful, and it's beautiful the whole way down. Aside from, and the term, I can quote the term, some scummy spots along the way. And that's it. Very, very, very small spots along the way.
It changes.
It changes.
About a couple weeks ago, we heard it wasn't good.
Yep.
So.
It changes, and a prime example of change is this morning at Delnor Wiggins Pass, the water is atrocious. It's brown, it's ugly and nasty and disgusting, and there's dead fish everywhere. Here, it's beautiful, and that's only 8 miles away. Hello to my mother. Yeah, guys, I mean, I know that I'm not taking it as you guys think we're a bunch of liars, but I'm just saying because we do have a lot of new followers, and you know, they don't know us yet, and I think as you guys, a lot of you newer followers get to know us a bit more, you'll understand sort of where we're coming from, and we're not beholden to anyone, and we just, like we always say, you know what, we should make our tagline, we call it as we see it. Because it's like, I think I say that constantly.
Yes.
We call it as we see it. We're not beholden to anyone.
Did you say something about the sand? Toes in the sand?
Oh yeah, like, what was it? Man, I wish I could say that, remember it. We're, instead of boots on the ground, we're toes in the sand. Our reports are toes in the sand reports.
See,
We
I
are
remember
here.
He said, I couldn't remember exactly how he said
And
it.
hey, so many of these media,
was cute.
so many of these media organizations, and I'm not talking even about local, I'm talking about the national. You know, they're giving all these people their news on the beach, but yet none of those people are even here. They're from some office out in Washington, D.C. or New York or Los Angeles, and they're telling you guys that what we're saying is not true. And I think the thing is, some of the people who don't really know us yet on our page, because they're newer, don't realize that they probably should listen to what we're saying, at least about where we're standing over outside media organizations, at least regarding the things we talk about. We keep it pretty opinionated.
Yeah, and guys, it can change. It can change. You know, I think even the lady I was watching the news the other day, and she was saying, you know, from hour to hour, it could actually change, and the wind shifts at a different point, and then now you can sense it, or you know, the sense of the red tide. You can't smell red tide. I can't. It's how your lungs sense it. So, and that could change. So whatever we're saying now could absolutely change in an hour from now. So.
Yep.
We're hoping it doesn't, but it has changed when, in fact, when Brandon has done a live in the morning, and it was great, and then I would do a sunset live, and then I've sensed it in the evening. So again, it was a wind shift, so the wind started shifting inland, coming from the west, and when Brandon did it, it was coming from the east. So, you know, he was lucky enough not to sense any of it, and I had to cut it short because I couldn't stand it.
Yep.
Coughing too much, and you guys don't want to hear that. So.
And to Sal's question, yes, we work, we have lives, but this is a passion project that we have, and we fit it into our lives, and sometimes that's at the expense of other things, and so it's definitely a you know, it makes life busy to do this sometimes, and we have to fit things in, but it's something we definitely enjoy doing. So, just reading through anything else that you guys want to mention. I think we're going to be here for a few more minutes. This storm is building and it's moving towards us. I just don't know if it's going to move north of us before it hits us. It might. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Anne. I think if we're guilty of anything, it's been not talking about it enough, because we try to comment on it and then move on from it, but it's such a big issue at this point that I guess we just got to deal with it. If we got to talk about it, we got to talk about it. Just saying, I think if we're guilty of anything, it's just probably that we've tried to brush it under the rug a little bit because we're saying what's happening here, and I think what happens is people want to hear us showing a lot more concern for what's happening north of us.
It's a huge concern.
It's a massive concern,
I'm
but
such an animal lover.
yeah, we both love animals. I love. Oh, look at this, guys! The wind is coming in. Look at this. Uh-oh. There's sand blowing. Look at this, guys. Wow. Here it comes.
I just turned cold, you guys. This is actually
Wow. It literally just like a wind just came off of the water, and it's steady. It got cold.
Yeah.
Like there's actually a cool breeze.
They better get off the beach.
Yep. I'm just wondering if it's going to stay offshore. It's moving quick though. And look what Sandy's on. So if she gets caught in it, she's got to get home. She's got to find a way to get home. That'll teach her to ride a bike and exercise. Yeah, thank you, Ann. You might want to check the radar for your own good.
Check for whatever reason, if I don't have Wi-Fi going, like I'm not connected to a Wi-Fi, I can't pick up the Weather Channel.
Well, you don't have a radar app?
I don't have a radar.
All right, well, you need to get a radar app because, I don't know, I'd be looking at it. That's rain right there. That's all rain. Weather Channel might have the best radar, but sometimes the best radar is the one you can look at.
The one that actually works.
Yeah, if you can't look at the Weather Channel radar, it's not the best radar.
Weather Channel, it's your fault. My phone can't pick it up without Wi-Fi.
Yes, Weather Channel. Oh, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Ted, so Ted from Chatterbox just said hi, and that's interesting because I wanted to reach out to you, Ted. And
bike in your shop.
Ted, can we get, for all of our followers here, can we get when I was there last week, you guys told us, roughly when you were opening. Can you give us an official day and time, which I'm pretty sure I know what it is, for the Chatterbox 2 opening? So I think it's Thursday, but what time? Is it 4 p.m.? That'll let us know. Alright, so Chatterbox 2 opens at 4 p.m. on Thursday. So, guys, this place is cool. We did a live there last week. Go check it out.
We're getting our drink on.
Yeah, Sandy's going to get her drink on. I'm going to drink water. I'm too fat for alcohol these days. So, So make sure you guys go check that out. There's another local business. I'm gonna have to turn this way so they can hear me. There's another local business. We talk about supporting local businesses. Check out the wind. Yeah, there's another local business that opens Thursday at 4 p.m. Chatterbox 2. It's located. It's located right across the street from the Naples Community Hospital, and it's a great place to go get some lunch and dinner, drinks, have a good time. And Ted's a really cool guy. Go back and check our live out from last week. That's Chatterbox 2. And we're gonna see you Thursday, Ted. We're gonna come over there Thursday. Yeah, Sandy, they're saying you better get pedaling. She's playing on the wild side. There is a storm coming. Oh, sorry. I just about knocked her over. I didn't know she was beside me. I don't know if it's going to pick up on here. Where are we? We're north. There.
Oh, I didn't.
Zooming out now? Oh, it's coming. Oh yeah, look at all that. Oh yeah, you're gonna get soaked. It's coming, so there's rain right there, but most of the rain, we can't see it. It's down there. It's coming. Oh, it's coming north. It's coming from the southwest.
South.
Yes. South and south, because there's a bunch down south of Markham. Oh yeah, we're gonna get it. Sandy's gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. I'm in my car.
So this app was called, it's called My Radar. So I found it, it's called My Radar.
I use that one. That's the one I use. Sandy is going to make a very wise decision, and she's going to bail. So, all right, Sandy, we'll see you. Yep. Yep. So I think that's smart. I think that's smart.
Hi guys, thanks for watching, thanks for sharing. I'll see you soon.
All right, so Sandy's getting out of here. Bike rack on my other car, but not the car that I'm driving today.
Bike rack for my bike.
Well, I have a luggage rack. We can figure it out, but not today. You're on your own today. See you, Sandy. I love this weather, guys. This is my weather right here. That's right, Tom. I love these storms. I think that they are the coolest things to watch coming off the water. You just got to be smart when it starts lightning. And now my wife is texting me, and she's watching this live, and she's telling me that I have to leave because of lightning. It's not lightning yet. To my wife, to my lovely wife, it is not lightning yet. At least I haven't seen any in the last 20 minutes. I haven't seen any. And I'm going to leave here in a minute anyways. A couple things I want to say to you guys. Thank you to you guys who support us on Patreon. If you're you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a page where you can help support us each month by donating whatever amount of money you choose. Thank you to Austin, who just joined us on there yesterday. And in return, it's like a little social media platform in and of itself, kind of like Facebook, except it's private just to those of you who help us out over there. So we post pictures over there, and we post opinions and comments over there that we kind of keep to ourselves a little bit over here. So if you want to know our thoughts a little deeper, join us at Patreon, and you can do that by going to patreon.com and searching Naples Photo Blog. And we appreciate all of the support over there. And make sure to follow us by subscribing on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search Naples Photo Blog, and please click subscribe. It's free. There's a lot of cool videos over there. We're adding to that. And click the subscribe button, and it'll notify you when we get new videos up there. And if you want to purchase any of our photos in print, they are beautiful prints. We only put photos up there that really do well on prints. Go to Naples, Florida, or I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember all these URLs. Go to naplesphotoblog.zenfolio.com. That's naplesphotoblog.zenfolio.com, and you can purchase any of our photos, and we add to that as well. And if you are a Patreon member, we give you a code that allows you to purchase anything on our photography page for 30% off. Yeah, guys, our patrons are going to be what drives this page in the future. And so especially those of you who really want to keep us from having to go down the corporate road, which is something, while we want to work with like-minded businesses, and we do, that is a goal, to work with like-minded businesses. We don't want to sell ourselves out. We plan to never have to do that. But to keep the page growing the way it's growing, and to keep it active the way it's active, Patreon members really, really help that, because it's going to allow us to do things where what we want to do is we want to use that money for lives. We want to use that money to get into places that let us do lives, to get access to things that would require money. So, it just really helps. Helps with tools, helps with different costs. And if you have any questions, guys, about this red tide, today's live, your visiting schedule, your visiting plans, just send us a message. If you're upset with us about anything regarding anything we said, you want to, mention it, just send us a message. We'll talk to you guys, and we appreciate all different opinions. But the one thing I do want to mention is, please, it's a family site. It's a family page. So please use family-friendly language in the comments. We always do it. And the last couple of days, we've noticed a lot of language that wouldn't be good for kids and families and people who just don't talk like that. So, guys, just please do us a favor, even when you're emotional, and just use some family-friendly language. We appreciate that. Thank you, Tom. You're very appreciated, man. You're awesome. All right, guys. Is the red tide bad? Keith, I'll just say no. But we're pretty much finishing up the live here. So what I would encourage you to do is to go back and watch this, because I'm getting ready to stop the live here in just a moment. Go back and watch it. And we talk about a lot, even right at the start. And I think you'll get an idea of what we're dealing with. We address as honestly, guys, as we can the conditions. I mean, we're telling you everything we can possibly tell you. There's nothing else that, without being on an insider level, there's nothing else we can tell you. We lay it all out there. And yeah, I mean, if you guys, those of you who are new, I am completely open to dissenting opinions, dissenting comments. I'm cool with that. The one thing I try to do is I try to temper my emotion before I make an opinion about what causes something or what's behind something. And I try to not come at it from a political standpoint. I try to be very neutral. So I welcome the debate. The only thing I ask is that we keep the language appropriate and that we keep the respect in line, which has not been an issue. So, and I know that the language is just one of those things that it's not a big deal to most. I just want to keep it family friendly. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching today. I hope you guys are cool with us talking about the red tide. I kind of want to move on from it, but I don't think at this point it's really the right thing to do to ignore it. So if you don't want to talk about it, I apologize. We're going to try and mix in the good and the bad, but we're trying to keep it honest. So I hope you guys understand as we talk about red tide. But please also understand that if we say that it's not bad, it's just from our perception of what we see. But the point of these lives, you know, we could easily just write all this stuff out or take a picture. But one of the reasons of these lives is they give you the ability to see what we see. So we went down to the water today and we showed you the water. And if you go to Southwest Florida Television's page at Del Nor-Wiggins, you will see that the conditions here are, as we are saying, they are not near the conditions of Del Nor-Wiggins. And I don't know why that is, but it is. So yeah, we're not ignoring it. We're just trying to not make it sound like the sky is falling. And we want to really be careful not to politicize our thoughts. And so many things that I see happening have political undertones. And I'm not saying it's not a political issue. I think it is a political issue. But I think that the politics is what separates us from finding solutions. And I think it won't be until we all decide that regardless of the party we support, that this problem has to be addressed. Because let me tell you guys something. Most everybody I talk to thinks that the solution is finding a way to move that water south. I got to tell you guys something. The solution to the levee at Lake Okeechobee would require decisions to be made over multiple administrations. That is not an overnight solution. And if you are overly political party based, we are never going to find a solution to this, because the solution is going to require people to say, this is what's right, regardless of political affiliation. And we have to stick together on it. So we're really, all of us are part of the fault as to why we're experiencing this, because so many of us are standing behind our political party and a politician. And I'm not speaking against the current administration, because honestly, what I'm trying to get across to you guys is the next administration may be another party. And it seems like everybody who had a problem now suddenly doesn't have a problem, and everybody who didn't have a problem does. It's like this cycle, and if we can't get out of it, we're not going to solve it. So going out on the beach is great. Holding hands is great. I support the cause. But the minute that it comes off as political, it divides. We have to say, regardless of politics, what we want is a solution. And the solution needs to be to fix the issue with releases. And that means, and listen, Lake Okeechobee has to be released, guys. It has to be. There's no options. That is not a dam out there that releases, millions of gallons of water. Lake Okeechobee is full. It has to be released. There's got to be a solution that's reasonable. I think that being against pollution is great, but I don't know that you're going to stop people from doing something on their private property without people knowing. You can try, but let's all just chum it up as we got to find a solution. We got to work together. And Maybe we'll figure this out one day, but we'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep you guys notified as much as we can about what's going on. We'll keep doing reports. We'll call it as we see it. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following, liking, commenting, sharing, being a Patreon member, following us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We're trying to hammer it all out, guys. So thank you for following. And we really do appreciate the dialogue. We welcome it. Let's just keep the language good. Feel free to message us. We're all good. So thank you guys. We'll talk to you guys later, maybe tomorrow. It's starting to rain, so we timed this perfect. So take care, guys. Thank you for watching.